Hello everyone, my name is Hanne, and today I'm going to talk about social media addiction. If you're ready, let's start. What is social media? Social media is a collective term for websites and applications that, sorry, focus on communication, community based input, interaction, content sharing, and collaboration. People use social media to stay in touch and interact with friends, family, and various communities. Businesses use social applications to market and promote their products and track customer concerns. What are social media platforms? Social media platforms are interactive digital channels that focus on the creation and sharing of thoughts, ideas, and information through virtual networks. These platforms enable users to take part in social networking by creating content, sharing their thoughts, commenting on other user content, and reposting it. Social media content can be texts, images, videos, and etc. circulated in virtual communities or networks. Social media platforms are widely used in communication services alongside marketing strategies. How many social media platforms are there? Actually, there is no definite answer to that question, but there are likely more than 100 social media platforms around the world. As of April 2022, there are over 4.65 billion social media users in the world, which makes up around 60% of the world's population. Let's take a look the top 7 social media sites and platforms. Of course, number 1 is Facebook. Number 2, YouTube. Number 3, WhatsApp. Number 4, Instagram. Number 5, TikTok. Number 6, Snapchat. And the last one, Twitter. What is social media addiction? Social media addiction is a form of behavioral addiction in which a person engages in the compulsive and excessive use of social media. Problematic social media use ends up interfering with other aspects of one's life and can affect a person in several harmful ways. Several signs indicate that someone may have an addiction to social media. What are the signs and symptoms of social media addiction? Let's learn. A compulsion to check social media, spending long periods on social pages, spending less time doing offline activities, changes in mood, particularly when not looking at social media, withdrawal symptoms, conflict as a result of social media use. Lying about the amount of time spent online. Individuals who suffer from social media addiction are often embarrassed about the significant amount of time spent on social media. As a result, people who are addicted to social media will lie to loved ones about the time spent scrolling on different platforms. Relying on social media as a coping mechanism. A person may increasingly use social media to cope with problems or negative feelings such as boredom, social anxiety, stress, or loneliness. Feeling restless when unable to check social media. Individuals who struggle with social media addiction may become restless or troubled when unable to use social media, A person may be aware of the negative feelings that being unable to access social media can cause, but may often feel like the situation is uncontrollable, neglecting social or work related responsibilities. As social media continues to consume a big chunk of a person's time and energy, school or work related responsibilities may be neglected. Withdrawing from friends and family. Personal relationships may suffer as a social media addict prefers to spend more time in the virtual world. A person may withdraw from family and friends, having difficulty staying in the moment as one's full attention is given to social media. What are the causes of social media addiction? Social media addiction is caused by many contributing factors. Number one, addictiveness. The addictive potential of social media can be largely attributed to the novelty that different social media sites offer. Social networking apps come up with new ideas to have people as returning visitors to the platform all the time. This makes individuals more vulnerable to compulsive overconsumption of online media. 2. Stress and self esteem. Social media allows users to selectively showcase life by only selecting the finest moments. It can give a false impression that people have to keep up and try harder to live a more desirable life. This can cause stress and lower self esteem to an individual by putting unnecessary pressure on oneself to do better in life. Number 3, social anxiety. An inability to establish and maintain real life relationships can make a person turn to social media where connections are made easier. Someone who suffers from social anxiety may prefer to spend time in the virtual world as engaging does not require real life interactions. What are the effects of social media addiction? Overconsumption of social media can have negative repercussions. Increased isolation. There is still an ongoing debate about whether perceived social isolation causes people to turn to social media or excessive users develop feelings of isolation. Either way, evidence exists that spending less time interacting face to face can cause negative mood states like social isolation, anxiety, and depression. The lack of real and deeper connection with other people offline can cause depressive symptoms. The superficial connections established in social media tend to be less emotionally satisfying. As a result, people who are addicted to social media do not get the benefits of healthy social interactions. Decrease physical activity. Spending a lot of time on the phone means someone has less time for physical activities that can help generate a sense of accomplishment. Although an interaction in social media can make someone feel good, this effect is more temporary and less satisfying. Low self esteem. Loss of self esteem can stem from comparing oneself with seemingly perfect images of people posted online. As a result, people suffering from social media addiction have reported worries about body image, among others. Poor work or social performance. One of the biggest signs that social media use is becoming a problem is when it starts negatively affects one's life. Social media addiction can distract students from academic work. Similarly, working professionals may lose focus on work related responsibilities and may miss deadlines for important projects. Why is social media addictive? Social media is addictive because it has a significant effect on the brain, a mechanism also seen in substance use disorders. Social media affects human psychology by activating the reward centers in the brain. How social media affects the brain. Social media affects the brain by activating its reward circuitry and releasing dopamine in the process. Dopamine is neurotransmitter that creates feelings of pleasures and wants. Being on social media increases dopamine signals in the brain. The brain then identifies social media use as a rewarding experience that a person does for survival and therefore needs to be repeated. This mechanism of action may explain why is social media addictive for some people. Rewards in social media come in the form of positive feedback from other users. Since these rewards increase the secretion of the feel good hormone dopamine, people tend to look forward to positive feelings and feel constantly check social media as a result. What are the types of social media addiction? People may develop an addiction to certain activities carried out on social media. There are five types of social media addiction. Let's start the first one, Facebook addiction. Described as the excessive and compulsive use of Facebook to boost one's mood despite negative consequences. Problematic Facebook use interferes with a person's life and on a daily basis. Number two, nomophobia, a shortened form of no mobile phone phobia. It describes a condition in which people develop fear and anxiety when left without a mobile device. Having an uncharged phone or being without cellular service can cause panic attacks in some people who suffer from the disorder. Number three, instant messaging. The compulsive need for online interactions through instant messaging services, including WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. The disorder involves a preoccupation with instant messaging and may cause a person to check their phone from time to time to see new messages or texts. Number four, microblogging refers to the excessive use of microblogs, a form of traditional blogging that involves short pieces of content that can be in the form of audio, text, or video. One example of popular microblogging site is Twitter. Online dating. The problematic use of online dating sites and applications. People may prefer forming virtual relationships over mobile dating applications, leading to isolation from family or friends and damage to personal relationships. Well, what are the downsides of social media? First one, lack of empathy. A person who struggles with social media addiction often chooses to communicate through email, messaging, or social media rather than face to face. The lack of face to face communication can impede a person's empathy, as feeling empathy is best learned through social situations. 2. Difficulty sleeping. Excessive use of social media around bedtime can negatively affect sleep quality. The blue light emitted from mobile phones can interfere with the body's ability to prepare for sleep. Number 3. Fear of missing out. Social media creates deep envy of the highlights of other people's life. This can result in feelings of missing out on something important that others may have at the moment. Several social media addiction facts indicate that FOMO is heavily linked to greater social media usage. Loss of interest in activities once enjoyed. As a person devotes a large chunk of time to social media, there is very little time left to do other activities that once brought enjoyment. Number 5. Conflict in real life relationships. Social media can negatively affect the quality and expectations that a person has of real life relationships. Leaning too much and alternative modes of communication, such as social media sites, creates a gap in real life communications and tends to weaken relationships. How can you decrease social media use? Several actionable ways exist to conquer social media addiction. Move apps away from the home screen and into one folder. Keeping social media apps away from the home screen helps tame to temptation to open apps first thing when using the phone. Track online time. Implementing time limits on social media use can help one gain awareness of impacts that online media has on person's life. Being aware of where a large chunk of one's time going help improve mindfulness. Turn off notifications for social media accounts. Turning off notifications for social uh, media apps helps improve overall productivity and reduce distractions. This also helps a person become more present for others. Put the down Put the phone down before bedtime. Nighttime use of the phone can interrupt a person's sleep through the blue light emitted from electronics. Blue light has stimulating effects on the brain which keeps one awake and disrupts sleep patterns. Number 5. Rediscover offline life. Prioritize real life connections uh, by finding new things to do with family or friends. Doing something that will give a much needed break from the screen can help one rediscover the benefits of offline life. Do a digital detox. One may also try doing a digital detox for a few days until there is a noticeable decrease in social media addiction symptoms. With proactive actions and help from a professional, one may safely engage in a digital detox from social media platforms. How can social media affect mental health? Social media can affect mental health by causing anxiety, depression, low self esteem, and other mental health challenges. Several studies have found an association between excessive social media use and certain mental health conditions. Social media platforms offer individuals a place where there is an endless stream of opportunities for comparison and feedback. This makes a person search for validation on social media, which the person sees as a substitute for a deep connection that can effectively be developed in real life situations. Problematic social media use can increase one's risk of being bullied online or becoming a cyberbully. Through different platforms, people can spread malicious rumors and hurtful messages that can be emotionally scaring. Oftentimes, cyberbullies can cause emotional damage while remaining anonymous. The great impact that social media platforms have on a person's mental health can provide a clue as to exactly what is social media addiction and how serious its repercussions can be. Cyberbullying victims are often left with lasting emotional trauma, self injurious behavior, and even suicidal thoughts. What are the positive aspects of social media? The positive aspects of social media include staying connected with family and friends across the world, connecting with like minded people, and raising awareness about an important cause, to name a few. The pros of social media are often centered on its ability to connect people and build relationships. Despite its downsides, mindful use of social media can be beneficial for many and may help people avoid several social media actions effects. Building a healthy relationship with social media can allow individuals to use the platform to educate, inspire, foster empathy, and deepen relationships. How about negative aspects of social media? The negative aspects of social media include the risk for addiction, depression, and anxiety, feeling of inadequacy about one's life or appearance, sleep disturbances, and fear of missing out, among many others. All forms of social media addictions can negatively impact a person's physical and mental health. It is widely known that people who are addicted to social media also often deal with other mental health problems like depression and anxiety. The highlights of a person's life posted on social media can also cause unrealistic expectations of life, leading someone to feel inadequate in many ways. Similarly, the facade seen in online platforms creates an anxious feeling that someone is missing out on something exciting or interesting that may already be happening to someone else. Lastly, overusing social media hurts one's sleep quality. This can result in decreased productivity and poor concentration. What are the treatments for social media addiction? People who are addicted to social media may benefit from different treatment programs. First one, cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most common treatments for problematic social media usage. CBT is a problem solving approach to social media addiction that aims to teach people methods of managing addictive behaviors that lead to compulsive social media use. Number two, behavioral activation. Particularly effective if another mental health condition occurs alongside social media addiction, behavioral activation encourages individuals to create a sense of meaning, increase pleasurable feelings, and replace unhelpful behaviors. Number three, dialectical behavior therapy. Another way of treating social media addiction that focuses on changing a person's behavior and encouraging addicts to seek a supportive environment that can make the journey to sobriety easier. Number four, family therapy. An ideal treatment or option for someone whose social media obsessions has started to affect the rest of the family. Family therapy can help other family members empathize with what the addict is going through. Well, how to use social media safely? Several practices may help a person use media more safely. Maintaining privacy. People should avoid sharing personal information, making their location known, and adding strangers as contacts. They can adjust the privacy settings to suit their requirements. Setting limits. They can then remove time consuming apps from their devices and use an app or browser extension to block distracting websites. Restricted use. A person can decide to complete all of their important tasks before using social media. They can also avoid using it at certain times of the day. Taking a break. A social media break involves completely abstaining from social media use for a set time. Thanks for listening to me.